to avoid interruption. And thank you for your kind cooperative and attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. Respectable head of the Public Administration Study Program, Faculty of Social and Political Sciences, State Islamic University of Sunan Gunung Jati Bandung, Khairul Umam SIP MAG, Honorable the Head of Public Policy Analysis and Advocacy Institution, Department of Public Administration, Faculty of Social and Political Sciences, State Islamic University of Sunan Gunung Jati Bandung, Siti Alia, and Honorable Lecturer, State Islamic University of Sunan Gunung Jati Bandung, and respectable all participants of this talk show. First of all, let's thank the Almighty Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, who has given us some messages and blessing so that we can attend this agenda without any troubles and obstacles. Secondly, salawat and salam may always be given to our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who has guided us from the darkness to the lightness era. I would like to introduce myself. I'm Lutfi Anwar Mahbubi, will be your master of ceremony this afternoon. And welcome to today's talk show, Roundtable of Youth Discussion, the youth role of alleviating racism and intolerance with combating discrimination. We would like to thanks everyone here for making time to attend this remarkable talk show. Ladies and gentlemen, on this occasion, allow me to introduce you to today's agenda. The first agenda is opening, and the second, talk show session with speakers. And the third is a question and answer. And the fourth is closing. And the fifth is certificate and group photo. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let's open this talk show by reciting Basmalah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ladies and gentlemen, now we proceed to the talk show agenda. This talk show will be delivered by three speakers. They are John Robin Ombed from Philippines, Khushi Ruparel from India, and Hidayah Talamsani from Morocco. And also this agenda will be guided by me as Master of Ceremony. Is it wrong when I pronouncing your name, speakers?
Kim Seni. It is Kim Seni.
Okay. I'll take one time, okay? John Robin Ombed. Percent?
Yes,
John?
here.
Okay, good. Khushi Ruparel?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, good. Hidayah Talamsani?
Hey there, I'm here.
Okay. Hello, guys. Okay, and at the end of the talk show, speaker will answer question from the audience. If you have question, you need to select the icon raise hand, and then I will unmute you for all participants. Okay, before we are going to our discussion, let me show you the CV of our speakers today. The first speaker is John Robin Ombed. He studied at University of the East with international studies. Area of concentration is diplomacy and international law. Oh, so many awards and conferences attended, I guess. Okay, I start from 2014. First University of Asia and the Pacific Model United Nations, Democratic Republic of Congo. And 2015, First University of the East Model United Nations Conference, Russia. Second University of the East Model United Nations Conference, Chile. And then co-trainer University of the East Model United Nations team, policy and delegates running head of the second University of the East Model United Nations Conference, Third University of the Philippines Model United Nations Conference, France. Second University of Asia and the Pacific Model United Nations Conference. And in 2016, University of Santo Tomas Model United Nations Conference, Ukraine. Fourth, United States of America. Sixth, Ateneo Model United Nations Conference, United Kingdom. And fifth, Ateneo Model United Nations Conference, Kenya. At 2017, Fifth University of the Philippines Model United Nations Conference, Senior Staff. And then the first runner-up in donor speech competition of the Diplomatic Liga Model United Nations of the Philippines, Department of Foreign Affairs, and the first Diplomatic Liga Model United Nations of the Philippines, Department of Foreign Affairs. Okay, maybe I'll make it simple because it's so many. And in 2019, Lyceum of the Philippines Model United Nations Conference, United States of America. 9, Ateneo Model United Nations Conference, Russia Operation. And in 2020, 15, International Model United Nations Conference, head chair in the Continuous Crisis Committee. 2020, Penang Online United Nations Conference, co-chair. First online International Model United Nations Conference, Bulgaria, and many others. Okay. For his work experience, DCM Manila teacher from 2018 until present, and then Model United Nation consultant and trainer, 2016 until present. Tata Consultancy Services Process Associate, 2016 until 2017. Okay, nice to meet you, John Robin Ambed. Okay, next to the second speaker. Second speaker will be delivered by Jose Ruparel. Jose Ruparel from India, right? India, allergic and passionate college student working toward being a BMS graduate from the University of Mumbai, aiming to focus her career in business sector and use knowledge of finance management, investment portfolio, compliance management, product development, and her consumer research skill to certify the business development internship at the company. Okay, for her education, start from 2015 until 17, Santa Peter School Higher Secondary, and in 2017 until 19, MMM Junior College Senior Secondary Commerce, on the last 2019 until 2022, University of Mumbai, Bachelor in Business Management Studies in Finance. And her experience, okay, start from International Model United Nations, May 2020 until present, as a board of directors. Aspire International Model United Nations, founder and secretary general, Mandara City Sports Club. As a volunteer, Mandara City Sports Club Final Internship, Mandara City Sports Club Trusted Member, and certified course of University of Mumbai Business Administration course, the Institute of Companies Secretary of India, Harvard University Entrepreneurship in Emerging Economies, International Business Management, Financial Performance. Okay, maybe I'll move to the third speaker. Third speaker is Hidayah Tulemkhani, is an 18 years old, first business administration student in US MBA from Fat City, Morocco. Outside her student's life, Hidayah participates in a lot of activities such as the Model United Nations conference, as they are a way to make a change and to meet with leaders from all around the world who have the same goal. She also in the head of PR and marketing team in WYLO, as well as the mentor in the exclusive YLP in Morocco. She is an active member of several local organizations such as the Youth Policy Center. Hidayah's goal is to spread awareness about issues that matter the most on global level, encourage everyone around her to speak up and help them improve their leadership and public speaking skills. As she always says, work hard, have the will to change. Before great souls have a will, and weak souls have wishes. Okay, good. There were all of the CV, the speakers today. So, ladies and gentlemen, next agenda is discussion session with the speakers. We will start our discussion today from question, okay? So, guys, what do you think about racism? Okay, who's the first?
Shall I start?
Okay. Hidayah?
All right. Yeah, all right.
Okay,
all
please,
right.
time is yours, Hidayah.
So, first of all, thank you for this nice introduction. It was really so delightful. I will introduce myself also. My name is Hidayat Kinsani. I'm 18. I'm from Morocco, and I am a first year, not just business. It's a huge degree, but it's all right. So I won't go further in my introduction. I just want to say that reading about racism has been a concern of mine for a very long time, and like knowing about racism. And I believe that racism is an intolerable act that should be banished, that should be stopped. It's a pandemic, I can say, because there is COVID, but there are other pandemics such as racism that's is really well spread worldwide. And even historically speaking, countries that adopted the race or gender discriminated laws, like South Africa, for example, have faced major social issues, have faced lack of harmony in their societies. So, in short, yeah, I believe that racism should be banished worldwide.
Okay, thank you, Hidayah. It's a good start. Okay, maybe. Any additional statement from Hoshi? Hoshi? Could you hear me? Or maybe from
Yes.
John? Oh, Hoshi, okay.
Yeah, sorry for some internet glitch.
Okay,
So
no
thank you
problem.
so much for the nice introduction. To be honest, it's all about me. But a small info or the small brief information, if I would say, is like, if you have met me a year ago, I was a person with zero interest in politics or even knowing what's going on around the world. Typically, teenage girl living his life with friends, luxury, Netflix, and clubs. But when this pandemic hit all of us, I came to know about the real issues of our world, whether it's COVID 19, whether it's racism, whether it's discrimination, inequality, all about it. So that was the year when I started, participating in Moral United Nations, just to, discuss the issues, just to, provide solution and implementation of it, whether it's being succeeded or not, right? So that's one thing I would tell to all the youth around the world, that don't stop yourself, okay? Try to participate more in debates, MUNs in general, and not just MUN, but your college events, because those things are something which is going to help you to know about the world, not just your country, not just your city, not just your state, but about the nation where you Talking about racism, for me, it's like a very strong word to use. And it's not something it's a hideous word, I would say, because we all belong to different religions and culture. And me, being a citizen of India, we have states divided according to the religion, which is the most, I would say, unusual thing a country should do, divided according to the cultures and religions. Okay. I say that it's okay differentiating it, but using it for one's benefit is not something we expect. And being the youth of today's world, I would say it's very unfair for people, or very unfair for the students in India, because they are being discriminated based on their cultures and religions and communities. And it's not something we are accountable for. It's the government faults, because very start they have given us a tag that you belong to this category. For so you belong to general category people. You belong to minority ST, SC caste. That's where we start discussing about the differences, the cultural differences, the money differences, or the status of them in the country itself. If I talk about a very recent thing, or a very basic example, if I talk about, it's the college admissions. It's been given based on the percentage, but the percentage merit differs according to one's community. If you belong to general category people, you need to have 89% or 98, 99% to get admission in highly ranked universities. But again, if you belong to a minority community, or ST community, tribal community, you just have to, bring 55 or 60 percentage. It's a huge difference. Like, students in general work very hard to get into their dream university, to apply for the courses where they can build their career. But at first, what they have to face is the discrimination. You get admit if you bring 98%. On the other hand, a student from a minority group just have to bring 60 percentage. Why? Is it fair? The question is why. Why it is in the country? I would say it's not just India. There might be countries who are being discriminated based on their communities. And for youths, it's not fair. It's the government, it's the ancestors, it's the old people who have given the environment. It's not secure. It's an environment of inequality, discrimination, called out as racist. And that's where we need to stand out. We need to stand out, and we need to, use our voice to have an impact on the country. If government doesn't do any, it doesn't, implement any policies or programs, we as a citizen, we as a youth need to do something. A small change can lead to a big thing in future. That's what is racism all about.
Okay, thank you, Kushi. And next, statement from John.
Thank you so much for the invitation here this afternoon. Luckily, this is also my day off from the work, so I'm happy to do something productive and also share a lot of things with everyone. So for me, racism is all about, hatred and pride of nations and their people, because they think that they're superior compared to other races. Ever since, the dawn of society, civilization, we always see, nations that has powerful militaries, they always wage war or conquer, minorities because of their religion, their beliefs, or their culture and traditions. But, ever since the pandemic started, as my fellow speakers has mentioned, racism has become, a bigger issue, especially also during the crisis in America, where there were a lot of protests. So that opened the eyes of a lot of people from around the world that those people living in those parts of the western part of the world, it's not exactly the same. They don't see equality or race as equal. and that has opened the eyes of the youth, the elderly, and more people are becoming more vocal about racism. And I'm happy that I can share the experiences of myself and also in our countries. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. It's a lot of statements and for us, our start. And I just want to know about in your country, guys. Um, is there a case of racism? If any, what is it like? So the case.
All right, I'll go ahead.
Okay, please.
Well, as I said before, racism is a pandemic that's there all over the world. And yeah, it exists in Morocco too. And Morocco has a particular kind of racism since we're in Africa. And our location geographically we are a country that's actually the door from Africa to Europe and from Europe to Africa. So we have that term, let me say in Arabic and then like explain it. Azzi or Azziya. Azzi or Azziya means black. So people call each other Azzi or Azziya unintentionally. And there were a lot of issues with people in my country since 15% of Moroccans are colored, and we have that discrimination sometimes that happens, especially even when we're talking about high positions academically. You will find a lot of black people there, and that's what actually makes it really bad. And also we have kind of racism against women because we're an Arab country, and even myself, I heard it a lot of times when, for example, a guy asks me about something and I don't know how to answer. It's going to be like kuzintik, which means go to your kitchen. That's the term. And when you say that, hey, that's racism, I don't like it, you shouldn't say that, they're like, no, we're just kidding. And that's the huge, like the bigger problem is that people don't realize that it's racism. People say it that they joking, or they think that it's normal, or that it's not really racism, although they know what is racism, but still they will say these words and they will discriminate each other. And at the end they will think that, yeah, this is not racism, this is not discrimination, we're just joking. And yeah, I think I can say I summed up the issue in my country in like just some time. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, it's very impressive. So next, Hoshi.
Yeah. So if I talk about racism cases in India, there's no particular area or there's no particular percentage which I can describe. It's everywhere. India, as I said, mentioned before, India is divided into states based on their religion. We have states Gujarat, Rajasthan, Maharashtra. That means Gujarati people will live in Gujarat, Maharashtrian people will live in Maharashtra. It's already been divided into different states according to the religion and the community. All right.
Okay, thank you, Hoshi. John. Hoshi.
Thank you.
Hoshi.
Yeah. All right.
You are done. Are you done?
Yes. So I will. No.
Oh,
I
I
was
have an. Okay,
actually doing
please.
some work for a second.
Okay.
Yes. So there is no particular numbers. You will find it everywhere in schools, in cinema halls, in market, shopping malls. It's everywhere. And I totally agree to what Hidaya said. It's racism towards women, and it's in India as well. For India, it's like if you're a girl, if you're a woman, you should get married soon. You should handle the household. You should have kids. You should look after them, right? Why women have to go through it? Men can do that. Women can go out and work. They can build their career first and then look out for household chores. It's very common in India, and I guess even after implementing policies such as equal pay or equal opportunities for women, it's not been implemented. It's not something that even women are standing for themselves. No, it's not like that. Everybody has just accepted the fact that yes, we are women, we have to do this certain things. But for youth, it's different. They should stand out. They should speak for themselves, and only then we can counter this racism and the discrimination and the inequality. That's where the cases will decrease, and that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. John, what about you, John?
Thank you. Well, throughout the history of my country, we've been conquered by three countries so far. Ever since the Spaniards conquered our country for the past 300 years, racism has played a big part in that part of our country's history. We have this what we call regional racism. We're in different regions. For example, I live in the capital region, and some people comes from the northern part of the country or the southern part of our country. We immediately judge them. Why? Because the Spaniards have mentioned that people living in the northern part or the southern part are lazy. They're black because we have this part in our country where the skin is very black. So, but those are the native citizens of the country, and that usually the case is always like that. We have some similar instances like the caste system in India, where if it depends on the skin color. So if you're black, that means you're part of the lesser race, and next is brown, so that's kind of like in the middle part, so it's kind of bit okay. And also during our time, we also have a lot of Chinese settlers for the past hundreds of years. They are in the middle part as well. But then if you came from the Spanish kind of lineage or family, then you got the upper part during that time of history. And then going to the American era, there's been some sort of equality at that time, but still, since racism is a huge part in the 20th century at that time, so there was still a lot of racism as well. But thanks to the Americans and their teaching at that time, we also have gain a lot of knowledge about racism and equal rights, especially voters' rights. That's where we had our first real elections as well. But during the Japanese time, it was also there's a lot of racism during that part. So if you're not Japanese or if you're not East Asian descent, there's a guarantee that you will be put in internment camps, POW camps. So those are the huge part of racism that we had in our country. And of course, I'll be happy to share more in our following discussions.
Okay, thank you, John. From all of this statement, from all of the country, between Philippines and then India and then Morocco. So we will talk about the policies. So we will talk about the policies and program. Other policies and program in your country that govern racism. Is that?
Well, I'll start as usual. um, well, in Morocco, actually, the programs to alleviate racism, because as I said before, people don't know that it's racism, but there are actually programs that are starting from the constitution. And for example, if we're talking about the racism against women and the discrimination against women, the Article 19 actually of the constitution says that men and women enjoy on equal footing the rights and freedoms of civil, political, economic, social, cultural, and environmental rights. So, yeah, our constitution guarantees an equality between men and women. I'm sorry, one second. All right. So also when we're talking about the Black people, we have also another article in our constitution that talks about the physical or moral integrity of any person in any circumstances may not be compromised by any party, private or public. And if it says something, it says that the Constitution of Morocco is actually really caring about these cases, and we believe here that the Constitution is the supreme law of our country. So everything adheres to it. But if we're talking about straight policies or straight programs, that's usually always ensured not by the government, but by the civil society, such as NGOs, associations, and even campaigns, awareness campaigns. So I believe it's not enough, but yeah, we are going there. We are getting there.
Okay.
Okay. So if I be honest, in India, we do have, policies and articles based who talks about equality and for who speaks on behalf of women and how there shouldn't be racism. But it's all written. It's all written on those papers and the laws have implemented. No, because we as youth, we are now aware about our rights. But what about people who are not young but are facing through racism, are being discriminated based on who they are not well educated about their rights. They cannot accept the fact that you're being discriminated by different people because of who you are. They don't fight for themselves, and that's just because they have lack of education, lack of awareness. So even though government have policies and programs, it's not well highlighted, it's not well aware, or it's not being spread out to the local public or the civilians. It's not. So what we should do is we should aware the community heads first. We should aware the community heads to take action and to normalize and to normalize the stereotypes and the myths of religions and their values. If I would give you, if I give you an example, a recent one, we have tomorrow we have Christmas. Why we should not celebrate it? Because we are not Christians. We don't celebrate it as a festival or an event or a religion belief. You don't do it because you're not a Christian. You belong to a different community. But why this? We should treat all festivals equally. We should celebrate them. So that's where awareness brings up. We need to aware people. And that's when we can make an impact. And that's where we can, actually help the policymakers to actually implement the policies and the programs that are being written down or that are being effected in the country. So that's India.
Wow. It's very complicated, right? So, John, what about
Well,
you, John?
Yes, thank you. Well, for the Philippines, we have a lot of policies regarding that, but the problem here is that we're always blocked with religion and differences. But thankfully, local ordinances or in local communities or individual cities, the local governments there have implemented ordinances. That's what we call them. So they pass ordinances which are called like anti-catcalling ordinance. So that means, if there's like a beautiful woman walking in the street, if someone catcalls them, that woman can complain to the police, of course with sufficient evidence, and they can be penalized and they can go to jail for some time. And the other thing is here, one of the most beautiful bills that has been passed in our country is what we call the Sexual Orientation, Gender Identity, and Gender Expression Bill. It has been in our country's, parliament or Congress for the past 20 years. It's been on and off. The situation when they talk about the bill is always there's something going, but sometimes it's going down. The problem with this is that we, as a Christian majority country, there's a lot of beliefs that goes first, and this is part of our history from the Spaniards. wherein the Spanish priests for the past 300 years have a big say in the in the policies of the government, even during the time. And up until now, the church still has a big say because they have they can make votes count. Whenever they want to influence the public or the people. We have a lot of Christian religions here, different kinds, and of course, down south we also have our Muslim brothers and sisters there, which are very very amazing people. So it's too bad that this law is still in Congress, still being passed around because of. It's sad because it's just that it's really beautiful because not just men and women, it's also the LGBT community which will benefit from this the most because that's the biggest problem in our country. LGBT community. A lot of people they target these people because their different sexual orientation. So this is one of the biggest problems in the country because when it comes to foreigners, we don't have that much issue because as a country, that has been conquered numerous times. We welcome foreigners. It's just that the problem here is in a local level, but local level per se is also national because we still suffer from regional um, racism. So those are the policies that we have. Hopefully, in the day or in the future that we will have a new administration, we can pass this law because this law would really help us not just in our national obligation as a country, but also our international obligation as a part of the world community. So that is the Philippines for its policies against racism.
So, from all of the policies has been shown and has been explained by you guys, which program the implementation of policies and program to deal with racism, or I mean, which program is most effective? Which program is most effective and implemented in your own country? With we know that it's not about one a program, it's a load of program, but which one is most effective for combating discrimination?
Well, I actually can't say there is one that's most effective or there's one that's not because they're all implemented and they're doing great. The only thing, like I would say, the one that I see is the most effective. In other situations, it might be the idea might be messed up, but in this situation, I actually like it because Morocco is an Islamic country, and we really listen to our imams, to the religion people. So the ministry that's in charge of that talk to imams in the mosques to talk about racism. And each Jum'ah, each Friday, imams in mosques speak up about this issue, speak up about how it's not okay to call a black person by their skin color, how it's not okay to stop your, for example, your wife, sister, mother from going to work just because she's a woman. And I believe that it's really getting effective because yeah, we still have that in our society. We still have it. We still have this discrimination, this racism, but it's getting less, and people are starting to listen more to the sound of reason. Also, there was another program actually. It was really discriminating against women, and this program was about if a lady gets violated and her violator wishes to marry her, she will he will not get sentenced to go to jail or to anything. He will just go free. And since we're a conservative community, lots of girls had to marry their violators until a lady, I believe in 2016, I'm not sure to be honest, she committed suicide. And then this law changed, and now no girl is forced to marry the one who violated her just to protect the honor, or to uh, be, to stop the issue. So after the change of law, now we have even less rape issues. We still are fighting for that, but yeah, it's getting better. And as I said, these are the two laws and the two programs that are the most effective in my country, of course, other than the NGOs sides, because NGOs also do a lot. They work a lot. And especially if we're talking about the racism against Black people, recently we have hosted around 120,000 people who have come from sub-Saharan Africa. And of course, by them coming, there are going to be issues. So there are a lot of organizations, of local associations that are working to stop that by awareness campaigns, and that are mainly operating on social media, which is highly effective because let's be all honest, on youth nowadays, no one watches TV or listen to the radio, like, unless something there's something really important. But usually we all use our phones, we all on our Instagram, Facebook, or using a social media platform. So using these platforms was really effective from the NGO side. So we're talking here, the government implements the laws, implements programs, and does what the NGOs cannot do. And NGOs, like we can say from the bottom, they're working on on implementing these laws, and on even giving more to the community, and to help deal with this racism. So yeah, that's the case in Morocco.
Okay, that's from Koshi in India.
So as of now, there's no policy that already implemented has been effective. But the only thing I can say that a lot of debates and hearing has been scheduled to discuss over for the year of whether percentage difference or the whether differences should be elapsed, so that all the youth get equal chance and opportunity to build up their career and go to the universities. So once the results, or once the law has been implemented based on the reservation, that would be the policy which is going to be the most effective one. And in that.
Okay, thank you. For John.
Well, as for the Philippines, as I mentioned earlier, we have these local ordinances that were really, working like a charm. So ever since I was in, or before I started the university, they already passed, these kinds of local ordinances, which, help women to roam the streets, to walk the streets, whatever style they want, whatever clothes they want to wear, without, being violated from a distance, without being, harassed from a distance. And also, one of the other beautiful things about the laws in our country is that we also have these kinds of laws where it's called violence against women and children. So what we have here is that, these kinds of laws protect women and children from violations from their husbands, their partners, and of course it also helps, illegitimate children to have some, access or grants from their fathers. Especially, also there was this time when there was a big rape case in our country where wherein they should marry the the rapist. But thankfully, these kinds of laws, prevents those kinds of things, because women here have a choice that they can, prevent those kinds of things. And also another part is that, the thing is, the teachings of the different kinds of religions and NGOs, those things, really make huge impacts to the decisions of the people here. So that's why I appreciate the teachings that we get, that we should treat everyone equally and properly, and that it's really just the problem of giving it out or informing everyone on how to deal with this racism. It's also our part or our role to convince our lawmakers to strengthen our laws and also to enhance it so that we can protect more. Because during my experiences in joining Model United Nations, and when we tackle about racism in our conferences, you get to read the constitution of a country, you get to read their policies about racism, and sometimes you get to compare on who's better and who's not. So hopefully in the future, we can have this kind of society or a utopia, if it's possible, that we can achieve this kind of common goal, that treating everyone as equals would be a thing in the future. So I agree with my fellow speakers that it's really hard that that racism is a huge issue these days. So hopefully we can see a brighter future. That's all for the Philippines.
Okay, thank you, John. And we were sorry that Hushi will be leave because she have a case study discussion with mentors. So, Hushi, before you leave, just please say your last statement or anything.
For the last statement, I would say that since the topic revolves around youth, I would believe that youths, are the people who are now taking an initiative to fight against racism and discrimination. And some other way they are giving an impact on the community and on the cultures. So if they continue doing that, I believe we are going to combat entire racism and discrimination thing soon. So it's more on the youth of the countries, all the countries, to fight for themselves. That would be my closing statement. And thank you so much for having me here. Unfortunately, I have to go. But yes, I enjoyed being here.
Okay, thank you very much, Steve, for Hushi. I hope you can we can meet again in another occasion. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay. We are still in Hidayah and John. Are you okay, guys? We'll be on till the end. I mean.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we're
Okay.
here to.
Okay.
Yes, definitely. You have my entire day if you want.
Oh my god. I like your spirit, guys. It's so good vibe for us. So when we talk about youth, we know that the youth have a big impact to our society, especially for our own country. So in your opinion, do the youth in your country have a hand in tackling racism? Because we know that this in globalization era, it's a lot of informations that in and out. So we have to take the good information, and after that we can resolve what to do. We can choose what to do and what to take part of the society. So, Hidayah, start from you, Hidayah.
Yeah. Before I answer this question, it's actually still 8 a.m. for me. So yeah, I have the whole morning free for this. For I can say that like during this year at least, while doing MUNs and while doing a lot of conferences worldwide, I just came to realize that yeah, there is still hope, and youth around the world really care, not just in my country. And recently, when I joined the Youth Policy Center, I saw how we have. In my country, we have enthusiastic youth who actually are working hard to not just eliminate, like stop discrimination, stop racism, but to even solve the social issues we have in my country. If you asked me this question maybe a year ago, I would say no. You don't, in my country don't have a stake against racism, in tackling racism. But now, actually, I can say it differently. Like just recently, there was a campaign held totally online by youth on social media, and it's called Meshi Azia. As I explained before, Azia means black, and it was made by a model. She's Moroccan, and she started this campaign to spread awareness about, yeah, it's not okay to call a person by their skin color. Also, I can say that youth are highly engaged in stopping gender discrimination, in stopping all kinds of discrimination. Thankfully, we don't have that. I can say we don't have really severe cases of discrimination or of racism in my country. But yeah, as I said, I believe thousands of times just this morning, it still exists, it's still there. And yeah, youth care about it in Morocco, and youth are actually even doing and working for it, even if they cannot start, even for example, an NGO. We have a lot of Instagram pages or Facebook pages that are getting started by youth on their initiative, without like getting support from anyone, just to spread awareness. And they're even getting a lot of great responses from all of the community, that when they're aware that, yeah, what you say unintentionally is racism, then they are like, yeah, we should stop it. And yeah, people start stopping it. And I can say that, yeah, it's really making me overthrilled and super proud that not just my country, but like all the world is getting more aware about this issue, and is working more to solve it. Yeah, that's all from my side.
Okay. Wow. Really good. So, John, what about in your country, John?
Well, in our country, before the dawn of social media, it was bleak. The youth doesn't care, or we don't mind at that time. But fast forward, when social media boomed in our country, that's where I realized that the youth is a very powerful weapon against boomers, adults, and a lot of political agendas. So going back to when I was in college, I thought we cannot do anything about the policies or whatever the government wants us to do, or whatever the world wants us to do. Then came forward, social media like Instagram, Facebook, and a bunch of other applications that we have. It opened the door for the youth to voice out, to picture, to record that we can fight against the oppression. Well, we call it oppression, but it depends on other countries as well. So it's really powerful because the youth has a lot of ideas. During my trips to different universities, they have different organizations where they have full of beautiful ideas and principles, and their mission is to fight inequality and fight the problems of society. During the pandemic, uh, this country, had suffered a lot of things. And there was this one youth member that she created what we call a community pantry. So this is kind of like a market, but everything is free. So poor people, or even the average person, can just get some food there, where they can eat for the day, and then another day they can they can take any products that they want, as long as it's good for the day. So this has been a very helpful movement in our country because it was started by a youth. So that simple statement or that simple act that was shown in social media exploded in our country, and it radiated towards the people, and it really helped a lot of them. And in regards to racism, if I can remember during the time where this African American was killed by cop in Minnesota, so it has opened the eyes of the youth here in the Philippines that, hey, we have some problem with regional racism. So how can we deal with that? So they posted a lot of things in social media about solidarity, equality. These are the things that the youth can show. They can spread the message all throughout the world, and their influence through social media, especially the youth popular. So they can do a lot of things. We can do a lot of things to initiate programs that can help society, and of course empower our public officials to do what they can do.
Okay, I totally agree with that because as we know that in this era, uh, it's it's all about internet. It's all about information. It's all about um, to communicate each other with online without meeting, without real meeting, and that is a good impact. But yeah, everything have a uh, what is mean what is that everything has a good vibes and a bad vibes, a bad thing and a good thing, and yeah, it depend on us or what we choose about the good thing or the bad thing. So we realize that the existence of internet in our around the world, it's real, and I will say that it's more real than reality. Okay, so so how to be wise to use an internet to you said that about what is that about uh given a simple act to influence the other people by social media, and so uh I believe that we we all have obstacle. We have obstacle when we campaign as a youth. We campaign to combating discrimination. So, what's your obstacle from
Well,
your own country?
that's true. Thank you for the question. Yeah, obstacles are always part of the youth.
Yes.
So I think best example for me is one of my obstacles, and uh, for me is sometimes the opinions of our family. So that's like the first hurdle that we have. So for example, myself and my parents, they have different views on certain opinions. For example, election season is coming up in our country, so we have different views. I have a different party that I support. They have a different party that they support. So that's where when it comes to our families, that's where it starts. It's always sometimes a family. If they are supportive, then that's good for everyone. So what we can do is always always convince the people uh, on those kinds of topics. But referencing my friends, they have a lot of obstacles when they want to promote the ideas. So one of the biggest obstacles is, of course, the support. Always the support of the institution, of the people, of the school, or the entire organization. That's usually the obstacle in our country. And of course, the obstacle from critics as well. So we can never forget about the critics of the government. They are pro or anti-government. So usually it's all about just freely expressing yourself. In this country, what I'm happy with the people is that they can freely express themselves, and that they can do it anytime, anywhere. Well, actually, now I can do it now. So I can express myself right here, and we're talking about it right now. So I That's the biggest obstacle in our country so far. It's either our parents, our family, critics, and of course the organizations. But of course, we should always endeavor to, you know, fight. Even though it's an uphill battle, it's never easy to fight what's right. So that's why, it will take a lot of time for us as youth. As we grow up, maybe then we can contribute. But now it's a small step, but it's a bigger step as we move on.
Okay, thank you, John. Hidayah, it's your turn.
Yeah, well, actually, I will be only adding to what John said. Actually, even here, we have that age gap thing, because here in Morocco, if you go to an older person and tell them, hey, what you do is wrong, or what you do is actually stopping us from going forward. And even like, for example, during the elections, we are the ones who are actually living in this country, and unfortunately youth don't go to vote, but old people go to vote, so they decide for us, they decide who is going to, for example, rule in this country. So yeah, always it's a problem of convincing them. Yeah, that's why, as I said before, it was a smart move to use the imams speeches every Jum'ah to convince people, because they're the ones who actually get more convinced. Also, there is a problem of inequality. What I mean, in Morocco, we have regions, and there are regions that if you go there, you feel that Morocco is a highly developed country. Like, for example, the capital, Casablanca, Marrakesh. But if you go to regions such as, for example, the region where I live, Fes Meknes, you will feel that, yeah, Morocco is a good country, but not really developed. Even like when we're talking about the authorities' support to what you do. The authorities in the other regions, yeah, they're really supported to do whatever they wish for, to work hard, to do whatever they want. But here in my city, for example, although my city is like the oldest here in Morocco, we don't get that same support. And actually, that's frustrating for some youth, because we started seeing the associations, for example, that start work for a year and then stop because there's no support to them. So that's why now we're only working on social media mainly, because, as I said, social media, it's free, it's available for everyone, and support comes not from the government or the authorities, it comes from the whole community. And I believe that the two obstacles we have are, as I said, the gender gap that we have with our parents, our grandparents, our elders, and the support that it's there in some places in the country and doesn't exist in other places.
Okay, thank you very much for all speakers. Really awesome. So, I really enjoyed this amazing discussion, and now we will in Q&A agenda, and speaker will answer some questions. So, for all of the participants, if you have a question to speaker, please raise hand. Then I'll unmute you. So you need to select the small icon in the platform, raise hand. For participant who will be asked something to the speakers. Anyone? Participant? Any question? Okay. If no question here, the last question from me for two best speaker today, John and Hidayah. We know that the big problem, as I know, especially in my country too, it's about religion. It's about religion. When we different in faith and belief, so it's really easy. It's really easy to make a conflict. So how to resolve that? The last question from me.
Well, can I, like, if I got it straight? You said racism that is based on religion, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
One of factor of
yeah.
racism is about religion. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and that actually exists worldwide. I have never actually personally encountered such kind of racism, but I can say that, uh, to be honest, like if you see all religions, like without an exception, they're all talking about tolerance. They're all actually trying to emphasize on tolerance and on communication with not just people from the same religion, but from with all other people from all around the world, no matter what their race, their gender is, whatever it is. So I believe that to solve the problem, it's easy. The problem, there is actually no problem. It's our way of living, our way of acting. So to solve it, we just have to go back to our religions, to stick to what our religion says, like whether you're a Muslim, you're a Christian, you're a Hindu, you're a Buddhist, or whatever religion you belong to, just stick to what it says, and you'll I believe that there'll definitely will be no racism afterwards, because no, all religions regroup all kind of people. You can find in all religions people from all different races, different of course genders, and I believe that, yeah, this is what should be done.
Okay, thank you, Hidayah. John?
Uh, well, for me, what we can do here is that it's really important to have proper education, proper teachings to the people, because without the proper information on how we can combat racism, it's impossible to fix the issue. I think best example would be in America, where it's been a sensitive issue for hundreds of years. So they try to educate the people, but also since the power of social media is really incredible, there are also some different conspiracies or false information regarding it. So those are the things that we need to fight, because in the era of manipulation, in the era of technology, in the era of this present or new society, it's really impossible for us to know sometimes what's right and what's wrong. So that's why the proper or legitimate information campaign would be very useful for the people, because without this, we'll be lost. Uh, I've been exposed to different kinds of cultures, ranging from India, Korea, Japan, and elsewhere. So it's always their main problem. False information is always there. For example, in Korea. So Korea is a well-known country that is rich in technology, rich in culture, rich in tradition. The problem is that fake news is everywhere. We just don't hear it every time. The problem is it's always there. Whenever I talk to my students regarding this, they always say that we have some news companies that are pro-government, so they say this news. We have some news companies that are against the government, so they say this news. So as you can see, even legitimate information is also a huge problem. So it's a bit of a counterproductive kind of thing to believe on what's right and what's wrong. So hopefully, if we can settle these differences in the near future, that's how we can combat racism or fight against it. Because sometimes, especially now this pandemic, this is our common enemy, but we still see each other as different races. So I don't know what kind of common enemy we're gonna face in the future, where we can see each other as equals. So it will really take time on how or and when these kinds of differences would be settled. So it's up to everyone. It's up to the youth, not just the youth, but up to everyone in the world on how we can settle this matter. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Last, before we close our discussion today, Anyone who want to add something to the speakers? Anyone? Still no? Okay. Okay, guys. Thank you again to all of speakers for answering those questions and for the great explanation. It was a pleasure to have you with us. So I will give you an opportunity to its closing statement from you guys about our topic today and your conclusion, your own conclusion. Start from John.
Thank you so much. So, well, for me, as a youth and as a global citizen, of course, racism has been a huge issue all throughout. Even for me, sometimes there are some instances where we think that we are better compared to other people. It's impossible, to not to compare ourselves as we're better from to them, to us, or whatever. It's really impossible. So it's really just common understanding with each other that that's how we can solve the issue, and also to the other parties as well that they should also understand, because without understanding the culture and tradition of a certain country, that's where we guess, that's where we judge. So that's how racism goes. That's like one of the roots of racism. So hopefully, if we will just help ourselves to study, to educate ourselves about the tradition of a specific country. For example, you want to visit um, some African country, so might as well educate yourself before you judge why they do this, why they do that. So that's really the best thing, because I've for me, I always judge cultures in my personal life. So after me educating myself to those kinds of cultures, to recognize that they're much different than what we have. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's really important that we should really enrich our minds on what we can do. And also, thank you very much for the opportunity of having me. I was surprised because I just got the message Wednesdays, and thankfully today's my vacation, so really happy to do something productive and share to everyone. Terima kasih.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Last. Okay.
Yeah.
Hidayah.
I think I have to talk now. So what I can say is that I believe that racism is there, it exists, and it will forever exist, because it didn't just start now. We're aware of it now, but it started since the history began. It's the discrimination and all what we have talked about today. It has started like long time ago. So what I believe in is that we have to work on changing ourselves first. We work, even like, for example, if I'm talking about myself as a person, sometimes I might just say something that's racist without even knowing it. But we need to be aware that, yeah, we should really mind what we're saying. We might be speaking freely and then hurting someone else. So we have always to be aware of what we say and be aware of the ideas that we're spreading worldwide. Also, we need to work on the awareness spread by engaging ourselves in organizations, engaging ourselves in doing something, not just sitting there and saying, okay, I am not racist, but like, yeah, that's it, and stop. No, we have to always work on doing something and on changing what's happening in the world. So, with that being said, I would just like to say thank you so much for this opportunity. I was really so happy to have this chance to speak up and to talk about a topic that actually even concerns me, not just because it's discussed. It concerns me on a personal level, and it concerns me a lot. And yeah, thank you for the opportunity. And even for me, as John said, even for me, it's my vacation day too. So yeah, I am doing something productive for like it's been a long time since I've spoken like this, and it just feels really good to be back. And thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much too. Um, after closing, after this agenda is closing, so after closing, we will take a picture together. We will take a picture together. So, ladies and gentlemen, we finally come to the end of today's agenda. Let us close the seminar by reciting Hamdalah. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. So, those the agenda we have presented to you all this afternoon. I hope you learned something, and thank you so much for your attention. See you on the next occasion. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Have a good day, everyone. Okay, for all of participants, please just turn on the camera because we will take a picture together. Guys, just turn on your camera, please. Ishiko Ramadhani Putri, Fawaz, Fika, Diwani, Kuntum Khaira, Elang, please just turn on your camera. Just a minute, guys. Okay. Fika, Diwani, Kuntum. Fika, is that? Okay. Kuntum? Okay. Okay. You ready, guys? When I say cheese, just give your best smile, okay? Okay, 1, 2, 3, cheese. Okay, one more time. Cheese. Okay. Thank you very much for all of participants and for the speakers. I just want to ask you, may I get your Instagram for keep in touch, maybe?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay. Maybe you can write down on the
The chat box.
Yeah, chat box. Nice to see you guys, and I hope you. I hope we can meet again in another occasion, and I very sorry if I made a lot of mistakes to guide you today. So, yeah, as I say.
No, you are great.
Okay, good. Okay. See you guys. Bye bye.
Jujur dulu pas sebelum ada jurnal, waduh men,